Welcome to the program Get Out of Depression. It's a pleasure to be back with you with this program. And the Word of God, the Bible, has promises for those who believe. These promises are available for every person. Doesn't matter where the person comes from, doesn't matter the culture of the person, if the person is rich, if he's poor. The promises of God are available for everyone who believes. And I want to show you through this program that this promise can be fulfilled in your life, even though that your life right now is maybe a hell. You are going through a lot of difficulties, and that's why you are saying, or that's why you think that your life is a hell, because you tried, you tried many ways, you knock at many doors, but everything has been closing down for you. I would like you to show you testimonies of people who through the power of the faith upon the word of God, they overcome. If you need our help in the meantime, we have people available to contact you and to speak with you. You can call us. Our number is below your screen. You can send us a WhatsApp, or if you are watching us from Facebook, you can send us also a message. This is your program, Get Out of Depression.
Shawnse Clayton enjoys today a fulfilling life with her husband. But several years ago, she was struggling with several issues like illness and depression.
Devastating. My whole life was a mess. Drug addiction and alcoholism. I had so many physical problems, and of course the depression just got worse. Really destroyed. I felt so desperate, so helpless. So helpless. My name is Shawnse, and this is my story. I had relationship problems. I had pretty much everything you can imagine. I had depression, suicidal thoughts. I also had a relationship that lasted 10 years, and I thought I was going to get married. And then I got a call one day from my boyfriend stating that, oh, I'm not coming home.
Her usual sadness became depression when a boyfriend she really loved broke up with her through the phone.
What are you saying? I mean, I thought we were happy together.
I'm not coming back.
Are you joking?
No, I'm never coming home again.
No, I don't.
So, of course, that made the depression even worse. So my life just got worse and worse. Just when you think it couldn't get any worse, it gets worse. I had a migraine headache because I had chronic migraine headaches. And this one was so bad. I mean, it was pounding.
On top of all that sadness, Shawnse suffered from terribly painful chronic migraines that she could not mitigate with anything.
I'm like on the verge of, vomiting. It was bad. So when I met my husband, it got worse. He wasn't my husband yet. He was a boyfriend.
Shawnse found another boyfriend, and she loved him. To her dismay, this caring man was also addicted to drugs, to a degree where he couldn't help or control himself. Everything seemed to go wrong in Shawnse's life.
I'm addicted to these things. Please just help me.
Then I said, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? In the end, I ended up doing witchcraft. In my mind, I was so desperate. When you hit rock bottom, you're like, you'll try anything.
Shawnse was so desperate, she tried witchcraft as a last resort. But of course, that didn't help in any way, shape, or form, and it made everything even worse.
So I tried it, got involved. Did I get any better? No, I got extremely worse. What happened then was it got so bad that I became so suicidal that one night I almost, took my life. I wanted to take a bunch of pills because at that point I was taking so much medication.
Shawnse Clayton couldn't handle all that sadness and suffering anymore, and she was really close to doing something terrible. Fortunately, she was strong enough to keep fighting on.
And that was the night I was going to commit suicide.
One day, she received a pamphlet in the mail with information about the help center. Finally, a little hope appeared in her life.
You know, it was a flyer. It was more than that. It was like a pamphlet, and it had all these testimonies. But the cool thing was that I was looking at it, and I'm like, wow, this is heavy duty. So I made up my mind. I said, I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to go. One last thing I'm going to try.
I will trust in you. I will trust in you.
Gosh, I felt so good the day that I was stopped suffering from all of this. It was like a whole new life, a whole new chapter for me. My husband overcame that addiction. We got married a year later, and we're still married. We're going to be married 13 years next month. My advice is, you know, anything that you want out of life, you have to work for it. It's not an easy fix. I never knew could exist. You know, me, change, completely leave the past behind, all those illnesses, all the sicknesses, all the hurts, the frustration, you know, the disappointments, all that's gone. God knows what's going on, and He knew that once I came that I would give my 100%, you know, I would give my all.
Chauncey and her boyfriend both started to change and get better thanks to the intelligent faith. Eventually, they married, and now they are a happy and healthy couple with their sights in the future.
I will trust in you.
You see, my dear viewer, that these promises were fulfilled in the lives of these people who you saw the testimonies. And the same thing that happened in their lives can happen in your life. They are not better or worse than you. What they did is that they used their faith. There was a time that they decided to fight. There was a time that they decided to stand up from wherever they are, or from wherever they were, and they decided to say, I'm gonna conquer. This is exactly what you need to do. You need to stand up from wherever you are and say, I can make it. I can be happy. I can get rid from depression. I can have my family back. I can prosper. Exactly, this is exactly what you need to do. That's why I am inviting you wherever you are. Doesn't matter your situation, to stand up from wherever you are and to find the closest UCKG Help Center near to you. And surely that when you enter inside of the UCKG Help Center, your life will be totally transformed. If you live in Stockholm, we have this Pray Against Depression every single Friday at 10 o'clock in the morning and also at 7 p.m. You are our guest to join us. Our address is Birger Jarlsgatan 106. Birger Jarlsgatan 106. And here there is a new life waiting for you. If you need more information about the closest help center near to you, here in Sweden, also in Scandinavia, or all over the world. If you are watching me from Facebook, you are watching me from another country, you can visit our website, uckg.se. There you have the details about all our help centers worldwide. Let's continue watching stories of people who overcome.
When I came to this country, I had my goals, my aspirations, but I found that instead of progressing, I was actually almost like firefighting. I was dealing with one crisis after another. And there was one point when I was actually studying part-time, and I had doing two jobs. And I remember that's when I started like having panic attacks, because literally every morning I'd wake up and I'd be thinking, okay, where do I have to be next, you know? And I had enough, because I felt as though for 6 months straight, I didn't have a single day of rest. And I felt like my body was beginning to break down. So I called one of the jobs and said I was not coming back. And it was pretty hard for me, because it's not like I could make ends meet. So that was a pretty low point for me. Before coming to the church, I already had my relationship with God, because I grew up in church, so I already had that church upbringing. But my life was still defeated, because it's like I knew God, but I didn't see His promises being materialized in my life. So when I attended the church, I heard the pastor speaking, and he explained what was the cause of the problem. Because one of the problems I found, and I didn't quite understand why, was that I was renting, and I was literally moving. I was an ideal tenant, but I kept, having to move from one location to another. So like I said, instead of progressing, I was literally just trying to maintain where I was. also like moving from one job to another as well. And he began to explain what was behind it. So I started to understand what was the cause of my problem. And I started learning how to respond and how to deal with it. And then I began to see bit by bit my life progressing. Like, for example, I had like now a stable job and, you know, like a proper job that would be able to, I was able to even to move to a place that instead of I was flat sharing, and I was able to move to like my own place. I didn't own it, but I was able to rent a place that was now my own. So I actually started seeing progress in my life. Now, actually, I was single at the time. Now I'm married. But more, I have like, actually, my husband and I, we've literally just purchased our own home. And I have an established job now, and I'm going to be promoted very soon, thank God. But most importantly, it's like my mindset has changed. I started to respond differently to what I consider to be the problems. I actually now started seeing them as challenges, because now I was aware that I can actually respond and have victory. So my mindset has completely changed, and my life has really progressed as a result of that.
I grew up feeling inferior to my sister. I always felt like my mom didn't love me as much as she loved her other children, my brothers and sisters. And that made me feel very sad, but then it also started making me feel very angry, depressed. It made me feel more alone, more empty. I started having, you know, the thoughts, the desire to kill myself. It was just nonstop, like not having peace. I went to the church and I received that help that I needed. Through the prayers, through the chain of prayers that I started to do, I started practicing everything that I heard, and my life started to change completely. I had peace. I'm happy, I'm successful. You know, I didn't think I would have a future in life, but you know, I went to college, I studied English literature, and I have a job, and I have my entire future ahead of me.
We are getting closer to the end of this program. You know, decided to do today what all you can do. Exactly. Stand up from wherever you are, like I spoke before, and say, I can change my life. And surely that this year that is just starting will be a year of great blessings, okay? I will leave our address below your screen if you'd like to join us. Our website, uckg.se, if you'd like to get more information about us. It was a pleasure to be with you. May the Lord of God bless you all. Have a good night.